the agreements aren't that different from what you're seeing. You just have to protect your client from like the exclusivity, understand what your royalty scheme is. I will say that it did remind me of like the .com boom where everyone's like, there's so much fucking money at Maker, and then Disney just shut them down. So it's cute and all while it goes, but I think that I would say, like, if I was a manager and I was managing somebody who was doing that, I would have prepared to been like, I need to expand more than just this YouTube channel or this. Like, Michelle Phan did more than just do those videos. She was a beauty blogger. She did a bunch of other things. So from that perspective, as a lawyer, I protect them from from the exclusivity. So I would make sure that it's like, all right, this deal is for this, and the manager can go and do these other deals, and my client isn't beholden to just this, because you will find these opportunities where I got a lot of deals early on that were like more management type deals where they were exclusive to them, and I was like, it's not worth it. They don't even understand what that means because they don't even come from that world. So I had to narrowly tailor it to that medium, and then protect them again also from talent agents who wanted more than just that area, because it was so new when it started that people didn't know that it's like, it's like when you're a model, you can have a model agent and you can have an acting agent too. So I treated it more like that to make sure that my client had the ability to maneuver around and really develop themselves.
Hi, so just really quickly in like a couple sentences, let everyone know what an MCN is.
A multi-channel network.
Well, yes, I know that, but I was making sure that the rest of the crowd does, so they know what you're talking about.
Well, it's like, you guys all familiar with like Maker and those kinds of like YouTube-driven videos and networks that they're basically, the way I described them in like layman's term was it's what you see now on Instagram where people are like, I'm an Instagram comedian. Well, it used to be what was on YouTube. Now it's like jump ship to a different social media, so. I hope that answers.
Social media monetization, basically, across platforms.
Exactly. Yeah. And it changes yearly. It changes like daily where you want to be. I've seen more of my clients who are influencers, which is the same thing as if you were on an MCN. So I think it's more of a time where it's like develop your brand and exploit those through the different social networks or whatever it is that's coming out in new media.
Anyone else want to jump in on that? Thoughts on YouTube?
Just count the money.
Perfect.
Yeah, they're still pennies.
Where it comes from.
Yeah, they're pennies still.
Yeah.
I had another question.
Yeah, of course.
Okay, my name's Leandra, and I sing in a rock band called Graves in the Bad Weather. And I was wondering, we're trying to look at our strategy right now, and we've been touring a lot, but our social media presence isn't quite as strong as our touring. So I was wondering what advice you guys had for that. Should we focus more on like YouTube and Instagram and all that, or just straight on the ground touring?
Or like, give it to the manager.
Yeah.
I would love to hear them. Wow. Okay. So that is a tough one. I think while you're in the position that you are in, being a building act, I think you can't afford to not expose every part of your life on social media and across all platforms. If there's a platform to utilize, you should be using it. You should be marketing to every demographic that you can possibly be touching on, whether it's like Musical.ly or YouTube, and being really active. I mean, I'm talking like daily basis, posting on a daily basis, just really capitalizing on any potential opportunity that you can. And you're not at a point in your career where you have to be mysterious, right? Like, you're not Jay-Z. So you should be like, I don't want to say that you're exposing too much of your own life, but like, I do think that fans are looking to see you, and they want to see your everyday like life, and whether it's like the really menial stuff of like going to go get coffee or playing big room shows, like that, all of it should be online for your fans to see. Yeah. And I mean, the strategy behind it really depends on what your fan base is, and I would highly recommend looking into your insights on any of your social platforms to get an idea of where your fans are and how you can best best market yourself to them. Like, for example, some of my artists, their biggest fan base is in Mexico. And so we try to do like Spanish tweets, we'll do Spanish lyric videos. We try to really like cater to that fan base. So yeah, once you kind of get an idea of where your fans are from, how old they are, where they're at, all of that, then you can use that to like directly target them. Yeah. That's the best way to go about it.
Yeah, there are a couple things I want to quickly jump in on. On the analytics side, it's not necessarily social media, but Spotify they have like a social media aspect to it. If you go to Spotify for artists, you can verify yourself just by like logging in with your own Twitter, and the data they'll give you on the back end for all of you is insane. You can see what playlists you're on, you can see how many plays all of your tracks have, the gender of your fans, their location, their ages, when they listen to music, what other artists they listen to, and some of those things are really surprising to me as a manager, as an attorney for artists. I'm like, oh, I would never think that, you know, fans of this artist would be listening to my artist as well, but you know, if it's the number one thing, then maybe that's a partnership for touring or something else to look to, or like another brand segment to look into. And then on the social media front, I'd also say that interaction is really important as well. So like if people are tweeting at you or like sending you Facebook messages, you need to respond to those when you're at a developing level, because when fans think that you're, I don't want to say your friend, but like almost like your friend, or they have a personal connection to you, that's going to be your biggest weapon. Where you're like, you can send those kids out into the universe, and people don't really give a shit what blogs are saying you should listen to. Like, it's helpful and it's great, and those are good things to have like in your binder. But I know if one of my friends comes to me, if like anyone on the stage came to me, if like some of my other friends who are here were like, hey, check out this band, I'll immediately listen to it. But if I like just see a blog post scrolling by or like something like that, it's like, I don't really, we'll see, you know, if it's something that seems enticing. But if you have your fans thinking that like, oh yeah, like they interacted with me, this is like so cool, they're like a cool person, like they might know who I am when I go to a show and say hello at the merch booth, then that's going to be a huge asset for you, because they're going to bring their friends to your show. If you're touring in a market you haven't been to before and they bring 10 friends, and that is how you're going to pack out a room, you know?
Interaction is super important. Have you ever, I think that Amanda Palmer is a great example of somebody who is incredibly interactive with her fans and has used that to her advantage and is super personable with them and has made them feel like she's their real friend. And that's because she is. She will stay on people's couches, and she will be at the merch booth, and she will get in the crowd. Yeah, I think that that's something that's super important for you to focus on at this point in your career.
Yeah. I think it's about human connection. Like, I know that every artist I've ever fallen in love with is because I feel like we're connected and like, I don't know, just had this weird like musical soulmate thing. And it's true, your super fans are going to be your biggest marketing tool, because every like band or artist that I've ever pretty much gotten turned on to and have become really attached to probably came from somebody that I know, like one of these ladies or like my mother or something. So, you know, I would say you connect with those people over and over and over again, and they will do work for you. It's just how it goes. Yeah.
I think also just focusing on the live side, you want to be giving your audience a new experience. You don't want to be playing the same venue over and over again. It's all about setting a mood and creating this world for your audience and new fans to enter into. So, I mean, there are a ton, we are so blessed to live in Los Angeles. You can mix it up, you can reach out to a bunch of bands and see if you can support them. You can go on people's Facebooks again and say, hey, realize you don't have a support slot set, like, would you consider us, you know? And I think it's all about just keeping it exciting, mixing it up, and focusing on the live experience as well. Also, I'm probably gonna get in trouble for saying this, but Spotify, I'm convinced, will make my job obsolete in the next few years. So use those analytics. It's unbelievable. I mean, we have our own team that can pull those analytics and tell you exactly where you're being played, and that's how we base our routings. You know, it's like, oh shit, I didn't even consider, you know, Toronto. We were just focusing on Montreal. So that information is so powerful. Knowledge is power.
Say if a person's in
an artist and they want to get into booking and being an agent? How do they go about it without stepping on toes?
Do you want to book you're an artist and you want to book your own shows? Is that what it is?
Well, book shows for others as well.
That's totally fine. Yeah, it's just about creating a relationship with the buyers and promoters and just saying, hey, like, I want to help you out. I want to work with you and partner with you and not compete against you. I think it's about aligning yourself with those people and deepening your relationships with those people so they don't see you as necessarily, a block. Yeah.
Okay, back. Yep.
I wanted to know what you guys look for in your submissions, like as far as format for this PR team behind artists.
Publicity is so crucial, whether they're in-house at your label or maybe at your management company, or you just hire an indie publicist that will take you on. Unfortunately, it's really tough to get written up without that because they're just like the gatekeepers of these contacts for some reason. But it's not everything, but it is just another puzzle piece. I feel like I said before, there's no formula, and every artist is going to have a different strategy that works for them, that works for their fan base, it's tough to say. But I would say at a certain level, definitely is always great to have a publicist. They're just not cheap, so you have been warned.
I would just have to agree with everything you said. I think that for some of my smaller artists, or by small I just mean building, for some of my building artists, I only recommend publicists when we have a release, like even if it's just a single release, we'll hire somebody on just to work that one campaign. If there's an album coming out, we'll hire somebody on to work the album as well. And then for some of our larger artists, they have a publicist on hand at all times, who is available to help us kind of maximize even like smaller things that are happening like in our lives. So that. So I think that it's important, but I also think that having personal relationships with a lot of these media outlets and press outlets is super important as well, because I know a lot of managers who do a lot of the PR for their artists themselves. I personally am not very good at that. I can do it to the best of my abilities, but I think that it's best to leave it to the professionals because, I think that they're very good at it, and there's a reason that they're not cheap. So if you can afford to have one, I say do it. But if it's not that, be strategic with it though. Don't blow your money on it if you can just do it yourself.
We're going to circle back to point A of your question, which was, I think, like more nitty-gritty of submissions. I will just say on my end, please send streaming links. Do not attach MP3s. Please, for the love of everything holy, do not send me some 30 megabyte email that's going to make my poly mail break and I'm going to be pissed.
SoundCloud is free.
Yeah, exactly. SoundCloud is free. I'm even cool with Spotify links, but I know some people may prefer Apple Music, so as Kristin said, I send SoundCloud links. If they're private playlists, that's totally fine, but streaming music, definitely. And then send a link to your website. You should have a website, even if it's just a simple Squarespace thing. That's totally fine, but something there. And also social media links on my end. And try not to keep it too crazy long. Like if you have a bio, I would rather have an attachment as opposed to an email that's 87 paragraphs long. Because a lot of us are fielding literally hundreds of emails a day. And if something opens and it's just pages and pages of I can't. My brain's just too many words. That's looks like an agreement to me. I'm this is lawyer brain. I can't handle it. Make it go away. So. Super color, everything. Everything is on the thing.
If you can have a one sheet with your bio, your press photo, links out to all of your music, links out to all of your social platforms, as well as your social numbers if there's something worth showing off. That's super easy. You can use that all across the board. You can use that with managers. You can use that with agents. You can use that in PR. It's going to be the most useful asset. Just keep it updated and make sure that all the links work, and you're good to go.
Touring history too.
Yes,
that's solid. Perfect.
Hi. As far as going about getting
Yeah, I get cold emails all the time. If you see an artist that you would like to mirror your career after, if there's somebody that you really look up to, I say go to their management and you'll find it on their social platforms, you'll find it on their Facebook, you'll find it on their website, and reach out to them and say, this is my music. Send the one sheet. Say, I just want to meet with you, even if you can't take me on right now, you don't have the capacity to work with me right now. Do you have any recommendations? Because more often than not, we're just trying to help out other managers and other artists. So yeah, I absolutely recommend doing cold emails. Do not call a manager's office. That's the weirdest thing ever. It's so uncomfortable to get a call from an artist and he's like, hey, got a mixtape. Can I send it over to you by carrier pigeon? I'm like, this is just weird. Let's just have an email exchange like two adults. Yeah.
I got one of my biggest artists, oddly enough, emailed me off my website. I saw his name in the subject line. I was like, really? Somebody told him about me and didn't ask for an introduction. He literally went to my website and just emailed me. And I thought that was pretty amazing. So yeah, I think, doesn't ever hurt to try and reach out. Just don't be super aggressive or weird. Just be a normal person, and it should go just fine. I feel like I always try to answer emails, even if it's something I have to decline. I try to all the time. If I don't, it's because I probably marked it as read and then forgot about it in 350 emails that I got that day, and I apologize to anybody that I might have done that to.
So a simple follow-up is okay, but not the next day. If you want to wait 2 weeks and just be like, hey, just because the same thing happens with Kristin. A lot of those things I put off to the end of the day, and then sometimes it's oh shit, I forgot about that one person, and then I feel horrible about it. Yeah. But a casual follow-up is always fine. Yeah.
And use your other teammates. I as an attorney have people I refer it out to, and managers who refer stuff back to me. Always mind your relationships, your friendships. People who already in your circle have managers, and again, I used to just tell open the CD case to whoever you like and see who their manager is and see if that makes sense. And it's hard, but I think once you get into it and start talking to people, you'll see that you have more opportunities than you thought.
Sorry, last thing. This falls under the practice common sense umbrella, but don't spam a ton of people from the same company. We get so many acts that blast their music out to 12 different agents at CAA, and it literally just turns into, did anyone else get this? And 25 people raise their hand, and it's an automatic delete, which is unfortunate, but it's true. Be strategic. You can also send the music to an agent. I work with a ton of managers who are constantly looking for acts, and I just blast it out to them, and it's really just collaborating and keeping that line of communication open. So be strategic.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Yes. So what level are you at? Are you a developing artist? Are you what? Okay. So at the beginning, you'll either start with an attorney or a manager. An attorney, like I said, can be on a percentage or an hourly, however you can work that out. You'll look for a manager who's on a percentage, either 15 to 20%. So this is start learning these, because now you'll see your little piece of the pie is diminishing. And that's when you're how many team members do I have? It's how much of your pie are you willing to give away? So, and then you'll bring in a business manager. Once you're more into you're making income, you're touring, you need someone to advise you about insurance, because don't go out there without any form of insurance, because that's the worst thing. And then you'll bring an agent in around the same time to start helping you. The traditional basic team is a manager, an attorney, a booking agent, touring agent, and a business manager. And then you'll add in a publicist. Then you can break that down into radio promotion, satellite radio, and all these little different things. But the basics are what's on the stage. Mm-hmm.
That's what it's as you get bigger, you do have more people. You have a label, you have a publisher. It also depends on what kind of artist you are, what kind of music you make, and what you really want to do. If you're also do acting, you might have an acting agent. Or if you do other things outside of it, you might have someone who does branding for you, or those kind of things. Or social media, yeah, exactly, a social media person, so you don't need to deal with that bullshit anymore. Well, you should still deal with that bullshit a little bit, but some things in the middle are. It's nice to have somebody else wrangle all that for you, Okay. Well, the back.
What is your opinion on paid streaming services versus like free ones?
Put your music everywhere, especially if you're developing. It's a marketing tool. I don't, as a business manager, unless you are a massive artist, like royalty income is kind of like negligible, and yeah, it's like it may show up every quarter, or it may not. So probably the latter. And I just think, you know, if you're keeping your music precious and you decide you don't want to be on certain streaming outlets just because they don't pay at all or they don't pay very well, if you're not Taylor Swift, you can't do that. So just like get your music out there and let people find it, because people like to listen to things in so many weird different ways. So I feel like the more accessible you are to your fans, always the better. Yeah, that's what I have to say about that. There you go.
And just like from the copyright perspective and as an artist attorney, I can give you like the angry point of view, which is like, I believe that songwriters are undervalued and underpaid, right? But so are a bunch of other professions in this world, including mine. No, I'm just kidding. But like, what am I gonna fight for? Like, there are attorneys and there are organizations that fight for songwriter rights, and that's fought through Congress and the Copyright Royalty Board. That's not a fight you can take on right now. Your job is to put your band out there, get your music out there, and you can talk about paid and unpaid, but you have to think globally too, that there are other websites that people in Europe use that you're not even familiar with, and you should really do your research and make sure that you're everywhere, because when you're developing and people are trying to find you, you need to be there. Like even I still even have an issue with A-list artists who are precious about it. It's like, whatever, I will not pay for Apple Music. Like, sorry. And I won't pay for Tidal, and sorry, you're going bankrupt. So what's the problem? You know, I think you need to think of it more as like, it's one avenue to find fans and one avenue to get my art out there, but what else am I doing as well?
This is a little bit of a tangent, but when Heidi said that people need to be able to find your music, I don't want to jump in on that really quick. Yeah. This is part lawyer brain on, does someone already have that name and is it already trademarked? But also, does somebody already have a similar name? Is it something that's spelled really difficult? If you do, like if you are thinking about what you want your artist name to be, or if you're at a point now where you can even change your artist name, type it into Spotify search engine, like look for this artist, and if you're not the first or second artist that pops up, change your shit now. Because people, well, you still can, first of all. Yeah, I had an artist who had a trademark battle, had to change their name, and it really screwed things up. And I have another artist that I work with who's a local artist, and she loved her band name, but when you search for it, and she had the trademark for it, like owned it and everything, and when you search for it on Spotify, she was like 10 artists down. And I was like, there's no way. If someone is like tangentially interested in checking out your music, and if they can't find it immediately, they're gonna fuck off the next thing.
And
like what Heidi said, like, I'm not gonna pay for Tidal, I'm not gonna pay for Apple Music. I pay for Spotify. I'm a Spotify loyalist, like ride or die, and I don't care if I can't listen to Adele's new album, because I can listen to like 100 zillion other songs. So like, awesome, have fun, Adele. Like, she doesn't need me listening to her shit anyway. But like, or like, I don't care that I can't stream Taylor Swift's music on Spotify until she wanted to fuck over Katy Perry yesterday. Like, it's you know, it's amazing. I'm obsessed with it. Sorry. So it's like I didn't care, because there's so many other alternative things, and especially when if you're not a Jay-Z or a Beyonce, and none of us are, I don't think, then you need to make yourself like easily found, and that's whether it's, you know, thinking of European, like make sure you're on Deezer, make sure that if you're an electronic artist, you're on Beatport too, and like people outside of EDM don't even know what Beatport means, but it's a thing that you need to do if you're like in the electronic music world, you know. So
on that same note, the one thing about making sure you're consistent with your name is like, don't have, so this is what I literally had this issue with the band Olin and the Moon. They were Olin A-N-D, and they were also Olin ampersand, and it was a bitch across every single social media. Like, you need to be consistent. Same thing with Angels and Airwaves. I work with them. There are like 7 different versions of it. I'm like, no. And then once you get bigger, like for him, like I had to deal with a lot of trademarks, because it's like I got to protect every single one. So make sure you're consistent so that people will find you.
Here's the second question.
Yeah, the second question was networking events. I was just say come to shows.
Yeah.
I know that's like the thing number one. I know like I'm gonna talk for Kenny because she's on a microphone, but like that's how she books a lot of the PLAG artists. Is like people come up to either Play with the Girl shows, they come to one of our partners shows because everyone but me is in a band in Play Like a Girl, except our publicist. So like come find somebody there and talk to them. If it's another artist that you want to play with, like come to their shows, like start being part of the community. We have like an amazing scene here in LA right now. Like people come to those shows, they buy each other's merch, they like talk about each other's music, and it's like an incredible thing. But like that's where we book, where the artists that I work with, that's how like Kimmy booked her residency, was like people come to our shows, you know?
You are who you associate yourself with. Like, become friends with the people in this community. It's so collaborative. It's so amazing. You can talk to a person at a show and then be playing with them the next week. You just never know. The opportunities are endless. The synergies that can be created are fucking endless. It's awesome. That's why I love doing what we do. Yeah.
And like jumping up to the really quick point, like how do you meet someone's manager? If someone hits me up and is like, hey, I want to work with you, I'm going to come to your artist show, are you going to be there? Bingo, done. Like A+, I will probably work with you just because you showed that much initiative. And or like if you're supporting what I'm doing, then yeah, I'll help you, you know? Think outside the box.
I do want to say something.
I would say I agree with everything that everybody has said here, but don't be lured in. There's a lot of networking events that you can pay to be part of. Don't be lured in by those things because they're so fucking useless. Like, I've never been to one that has actually spurred a real connection that actually lasted outside of it. Just be real and go up to, like everything that they said, go up to people, go to shows, be active in your community, whatever that community is. Don't think that you can pay your way into business connections, though. It just doesn't always work. I'm sure that it has for some people, but I know I've been to a couple of those things, and I've always left feeling really hollow and disappointed. So yeah, just be real with people and make real friends in the community. Yeah.
I have one last thing. Start one yourself. You know, invite everyone that you know and have them bring 2 people that they know and just stretch that web further. Make it a dinner, whatever, you know, could be a cool idea.
All right, down the corner.
Well, I'm like a mid-level actress. Like, I have a following in that regard, but I'm definitely like a developing musician. How do I best marry those 2 worlds? Like,
I think that is the time when you bring on a publicist and you make sure that the image and the perception that's being branded out to the world is exactly what you want it to be.
Do you have anything coming up acting-wise that at the same time?
All about the story.
Yeah, use your publicist to help push both of those at the same time. And this is, I mean, if you're being interviewed for the acting, mention what you're doing for music. If you're doing music, mention the acting. It's very basic, but I have a client who does both at the same time, and when they interview her, we're always sure to make sure to mention everything.
Yeah. It's not to be at a point where you are at the acting level yet, but if you are, especially if it's a smaller kind of production, see if they'll incorporate your music into it. Like Maria Doyle Kennedy, who's in Orphan Black, season premiere tonight. Like they had her performing on one of the episodes and like used one of her songs. So that's definitely something that needs to be done correctly, so it doesn't seem like you're like ramming it down someone's throat. Or like it needs to be a point where like you're in a production where you have that kind of leverage. But if it's something that makes sense and there's like music involved, then I mean, why not ask? Or like if it's in like the end credits or even something like that, like that's amazing. You can go get the music for free. I wouldn't necessarily suggest it, but like you can do it for free, you can do it for cheap. Exactly. Yeah. Be like, hey, you don't need to pay for those end credits because you can use my song.
Yeah, totally.
Just put my name on the Chiron, you know?
I would say ask other people on your team too, like, you know, do your acting agents know music agents they could introduce you to? Or even your publicist might know like a manager that's more focused on music that she works with on other talent that she does publicity for. So I would, use your connections, use your network to try to grow it from within. I think that's always the best way to go.
going back to the copywriting aspect, like what what do you need to do when you're putting out original music online, like before putting it out to protect yourself?
Okay, so So a couple different things. So the copyright specifically refers to just like the musical composition and the actual music recording. So you can put together a package of one CD and go to the USPTO, right? That's
No,
copyright.gov.
Copyright.gov, everybody.
And do that, and then you can fill out one application for all of those songs, and you have to like work through, like, do you write by yourself or do you write with other people? Okay, so super simple. Like, it's even better for people who own everything. You can do it for one flat fee. I think it's $35, and you'll put that you own both the musical composition and the recording, and it's that's really easy. So that's just the copyright issue, and then you can worry about the trademark issue for your band name or your name, and that's different. That's the USPTO one. So before you put anything on, and then as far as putting things online, like if you're going to put it on Spotify or something, you'll use one of the aggregators like TuneCore or CD Baby, and then in there you'll put the copyright notices for whatever it is. Like if you have a label name or if you're just using your company name, however it is, you'll put that in there so that it's ingested correctly into the different digital music services.
All right, I think that is it. We're running into the time where we kind of just clear out before we have our showcase tonight, which I would like to say starts at 5:30. We have Valley Queen, Velvet, Metronome, and Lexi Rose. So you can come back, do that, all ages, $5 at the door. And I want to say thank you so much to all of our panelists who gave up their Saturday afternoon to come and talk to all of you. And I know I'll be hanging out for a little bit. I know some of our panelists definitely have to jet. They have like work things like music videos that they have to go to. So they have to do their stuff, but I'll be hanging out if you guys have any questions we didn't get to.
Okay.